Riding dirt bikes is a really complex sport, and the learning curve can be pretty steep without some good sound advice. This is 5 tips for beginners and dirt bikes. First up is standing. Dirt bikes have got big, lovely seats on them, but you need to learn to ride without using it. Getting your standing position right is so important for riding off-road, and that starts by being able to do it on a nice, smooth, flat road. Get someone to film you so that you can see what you look like relative to what you should look like. Become self-critical about it. Not being able to stand up well will be the biggest thing that holds you back. What you're really looking for is for you to be able to control your own balance and weight relative to the bike, so that when you're accelerating or decelerating or going through bumps, your balance is always maintained. What lets people down is when they're off balance and the bike becomes hard to control. We made a video a while ago about the basic standing position, the position you should be looking for when you're riding on the flat. You can watch that this side. Right alongside the standing position is learning to sit well. The same problems arise with the sitting position as they do with the standing position. For the most part, your control of the bike is very similar. Your hands and feet go in similar positions, and you want your center of gravity right in the middle of the bike. The middle of the bike is generally just in front of the foot pegs, so that's where you should be sat. All other rules from our standing position video apply to sitting. The real key to sitting on a motorcycle well is to get the transition between sitting, standing, and sitting again really accurate, so that the same thing is happening each time. And when you do that, you're not negatively affecting the motorcycle. You don't want to have big transfers of weight forwards or backwards, or to just drop to the seat. The other thing that's really important when we're sitting is that you don't end up too far backwards on the bike with straight arms and all your weight over the rear wheel. That is a recipe for disaster. Tip number 3 is about looking. Essentially, when we ride a motorbike, we look where we want to go. Looking in the right direction and choosing the right parts of the trail to pay attention to are fundamental to improving your riding. However, blindly looking into the future is not the solution. What you're looking for is to scan the trail, to take in the bits that are close to you and take in the bits that are far away, and keep moving between the two. One of the fundamental mistakes that people make are that when they bring their vision down to pay attention to more detail, they don't bring it back up. When the trail opens out and the speed picks up, if you're not looking far enough ahead, you don't have any idea where you're going to go. As you get better, you'll realize that you need to look a lot further ahead than you ever realized you do. The further ahead you can look and take information in, the easier it's going to be to deal with what's coming, and everything will get better. Using the foot pegs to control the direction of your motorbike is a fundamental skill to riding off-road. If we weight the left-hand foot peg, the bike will go left. If you weight the right-hand foot peg, the bike will go right. The same applies to the handlebars. If I put pressure on the left-hand handlebar, I'm essentially putting weight to the left-hand side of the bike, it will turn left. If I do the same to the right, it will turn right. However, to ride well, you need to balance the two. There's always this little game going on between pressure on the left handlebar, pressure on the right foot peg, to really get some finesse over the bike. To start learning this, a really good way to do it is to weight one foot peg and completely unweight the other. So essentially you take your foot off the foot peg and feel what happens to the bike. To feel what's going on, you'll then have to weight the handlebar where you've taken your foot off the foot peg. You're essentially counterbalancing it all the time. Once you get a little bit of finesse with this and you're kind of a little bit more progressive with it, you can start to weight the foot pegs while still going around corners, drive the tires into the ground, and the whole world will start to open up to you. After you've got your basic positions correct, the next step is to learn to move with the bike to counteract the forces that are going on. So you want to learn to lean into accelerations, move away from decelerations, to make your life easier, to use less energy, and to maintain your balance. After that, the next step is learning to counteract the weight of the bike. When we're riding off-road, we want the bike to lean over to go around corners, so we need to figure out a way to keep it up and to keep grip in the tires. We do that by essentially counterbalancing that weight, so we're moving our body weight to the outside. When we're standing up, this comes through the hips and the foot pegs, and when we're sat down, we don't sit square in the middle of the seat. You want your bum to move towards the outside of the seat, so the edge of the seat runs through the middle of you. That way, you're always driving down on the tires and counterbalancing the weight of the bike. It stops you falling over. Riding dirt bikes is a really complex skill. This is far from an exhaustive list of the skills you need to master. You can also later on add into the mix good clutch control, good throttle control, extreme body movements. There's a whole host of things, and those techniques change dramatically once you start changing surfaces away from more hard-packed terrain or things get more technical. The last kind of little tidbit is to make sure that you don't start to blame your bike for things that you're doing wrong. It can be really easy when you're off balance to try and look for solutions in the technology. So it's really important that if you want to get better, you're quite self-critical. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We had a lot of fun making it. And if you want to know more, hit that subscribe button. We've got some more how-to videos coming, and we're going to turn this bike into an ADV light bike. Lastly, we've also got some really sweet t-shirts for sale. You can find those in the link in the description below. And otherwise, remember, life's better when you're riding.